A machine language program is a series of coded instructions. So, as an example, if we consider a 16-bit machine, the instructions typically will be 16 bits, so we'll end up with some binary instruction like this. So this means we actually need to understand the actual instruction set of the hardware in order to know what this instruction does. This is just a kind of seemingly random combination of ones and zeros, so we need to understand what the instruction set is in order to be able to decode this instruction and know what it does. So for example, that instruction here, it may set the value of register 3 to be the sum of register 2 and register 9. But without knowing the instruction set, we simply don't know that. So as you can imagine, writing programs in machine code is pretty much impossible. So symbolic versions of machine code also exist. So in this symbolic version, we use mnemonics. So these are used as labels for different operations and hardware elements. So this symbolic notation, so this kind of symbolic variant of machine code, is known as assembly language. So you can write code in assembly language, and then an assembler is a software program which converts the actual assembly using these assembly language, what's written using these mnemonics, into binary. So for example, in that previous instruction, the mnemonic might be add, so we're going to add R2 plus R9, and we'll store the result in R3. So using these mnemonics, it's much easier to write. It's much easier to write a program compared to writing directly in the machine code. So you write your assembler. So this is in this example saying a .asm file. So this file type tells us that an assembler. So you can write your code in assembler, and then using this other program, so an assembler, that will then go through line by line and convert this into a series of ones and zeros. So these are actual raw ones and zeros that are stored in the memory, and in the hack platform they store in this .hack file. So that's the kind of raw binary value that's stored in the memory. So we can use a hex editor to actually look at these. So this is an example from a compiled file, compiled bit of code what's been used in a microcontroller. So these are often called binary files. So it gets the code, it compiles it. They've got the raw ones and zeros. So you can use a hex editor to open these binary files and look inside them and edit them if you need to. So this is, you can't edit the raw ones and zeros. So often you can see that they'll show you the hexadecimal equivalent. So here this is originally a C++ program, and it was compiled into this binary file. So we can see these are the actual kind of raw hex instructions which are stored in memory, and typically they also show this ASCII interpretation as well. So it often comes out as gobbledygook, it doesn't mean anything, but they're just the raw ASCII interpretation of it. So it doesn't this isn't your source code, it's just the ones and zeros that are created when your code is compiled, and it's just those ones and zeros are just interpreted using ASCII. So the ones and zeros need to be put inside the read-only memory inside of the computer. So for a microcontroller, so imagine here we want to program this microcontroller. There's obviously no keyboard and mouse on the microcontroller, so we have to do the development on a PC or laptop. And then once we've developed the code, we can compile it. Then we need to get it inside the memory here, and we do that using an external flash programmer. So this is an external device that you connect up typically to USB. So this connects to the PC. So you'll end up with your .bin file here, and then using the programmer, this will actually get the kind of raw ones and zeros, if you will, into the memory of the microcontroller. So I want to quickly mention about ROMs. So you've probably seen games consoles where you put cartridges inside. So these are examples of read-only memories. So you can't change the memory, what's stored inside of the cartridge. If you look inside of these cartridge, there's actually memory chips, and these memory chips are fixed, obviously, so they've got the kind of instructions for the particular game. So if you want to change the game that you're playing, you have to remove the cartridge from the console and put a new one in.